Thank you so much, Julie, for being here. I am excited, really excited to be talking with you. You want to just start by telling us a little bit about yourself and exactly what you do, which I know is some really cool things.
Well, I'm this designist artist little girl that grew up being drawing. But anyway, I went to college for architecture and interior design and custom kitchens. And then I became a licensed contractor. So I kind of stayed in the dirt on that path where I actually do a one-stop shop for clients looking to build a brand new home or remodel, which is really unique because there's no women contractors that do the design. So I kind of provide this safe one-stop shop, stress-free service to my clients. And it's very trailblazer, unique, and one of a kind. It's kind of unheard of. So it's been fun.
Pretty cool. Yes, it is pretty cool. Where are you located? Like, where are your clients?
Laguna Beach, basically, and Newport Beach. So just those two little communities. I used to go farther into Los Angeles and Palos Verdes and Pasadena, but not anymore.
And what, like, on a business perspective, like, why did you decide to do it like that?
Because I didn't like living in LA and I didn't like the commute when I was younger. Because our commute used to be an hour and a half, 2 hours. Now it's like 4 hours. The traffic's ridiculous. Yeah.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what would you say is like the most fun part about your entire
It's
job?
the most fun part is taking somebody's idea in their brain and putting it on paper. And then the rest of it's just work and the fight to keep the design pure to the client's dreams and get it built is a fight to the end to get it done. It's a lot of work to execute the plans on paper. But the funnest part is taking someone's dreams and putting them on paper and then showing them a colored 3D rendering, and this is your new house.
This is
So
your
they
new
love,
house. The 3D
yeah.
rendering and like when it's actually real, right?
Yeah, and the renderings look like photographs now, so it's like, damn, it works.
Right?
Hmm.
How long? Obviously, like every job is different and like there's no like average, but like what is like how long do you tend to work on a project for?
Okay, so this is the real truth. Is a remodel is 9 months like having a baby, being pregnant. I always tell the client it's 9 months. It's never faster. And then if they keep adding stuff, it could go longer. But remodels are 9 months. New houses are a year to 15 months, and mega projects can be 3 to 5 years. So you always think of a remodel as 9 months, and a brand new construction as 15 months to 18 months. So I know the client for a year at a minimum, and we're doing the back and forth for a year to 2 years, and then I know them for the rest of the life of the home because I got to stand behind it. So
Yeah, do you like tend to become friends with them?
most of the time I do, unless we're not compatible as people. Like I'm a very strong A-type personality, and there's some people that don't we don't get along, maybe because they just have different friends and we're different ages. But I love all my clients, and I am kind of friends, meaning associate. I keep in touch with all of them, so that's
That's
a good
super
news.
fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now let's like get into like when you started originally, did you work for someone else or right away you started
Oh,
your
no, no. I have this professional background, just like a doctor, a lawyer, or an architect. You got to work for somebody for 4 years, if not 7 years. So I worked for two architects and one designer for 5 years in New York City. And that's where I learned my craft, the business side of it. So that's how I became licensed professional interior designer and licensed and all this other stuff. But I never did the architecture license because by the time I got around to thinking about that, I already was on the contractor path. So I just said, I don't need that because I don't legally need it. So it was just quite interesting how I got diverted to the construction.
you got what was actually important, like the experience part of it.
Yes, exactly. And the experience. So then, because you can't do this business on your own, you got to learn from the professionals or the big guys and be in the dirt and learn it. You can't just start unless you're just maybe a decorator. But even that, you still need to work for somebody.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think is the biggest challenge like when you from like leaving the job to like actually creating your own business?
Oh my God, it was so scary because when I was working for someone else for 5 years. And then when I moved to California, I tried to get a job in the same thing, like with an architect or with a designer. And they kept telling me I was overqualified. So I was like, what? And I couldn't really, because I moved to Los Angeles and I couldn't find a job exactly what I was doing the year before. So I ended up getting a job in a custom kitchen showroom on Beverly Hills on Robertson Boulevard. And I thought, I'm not going to work retail. And oh my God. So I ended up working retail selling $1 million of cabinets and meeting all these fabulous people who are my clients today because I was so overqualified to sell cabinets, but it changed my trajectory into residential. And I didn't even realize what was happening to me as I took this weird job selling cabinets, but it was custom cabinets and I loved it because I could draw, but it kind of happened without me noticing because I took this job that was kind of off my path of architecture, interior design firms. So it was kind of neat. So, but it was scary because when I actually went to start my business, I had to go back to work at night. Like I worked in a restaurant,
That's
just
awesome. I appreciate you for sharing that.
no, I did after 7 years of professional, wonderful, high class life in New York City. I worked at night in the restaurant because I could eat and drink for free, and I met everybody in Laguna Beach. And I just needed to pay the bills because my parents are the type that you have to work to pay your bills.
Yeah. Oh my
So I had,
goodness. It's like
so I so at 30 years old, after this fabulous career, I worked at night in the little town of Laguna Beach to pay my rent
that's
while I started my business.
yeah, that's like real, like what you're the real like parts of
That's
on.
really what happens. There's nobody going to give it to you. I never had the concept of marrying someone to give me money, and I never had the concept of borrowing money because when you're 30 years old, you just work. I
Yeah,
have no,
right.
I did, I have no shame. I didn't wash dishes, but I waited tables. It's about the same.
Yes, it is, and especially if you have to deal with like customers who aren't
Oh,
so
oh
happy.
my God. I just like, yeah, can get me through this night.
But you know what I like about what you said about both like your cabin, like your cabinetry job and this restaurant is the relationships that you've built there to help you
Oh yeah.
with business. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Well, the restaurant business, it was weird because I was a hostess first and then I waited tables just to make a little more money during the lunchtime. But at night, I was the hostess with a nice outfit. So I got to see every person that came in and called. So all of the town came to that restaurant. So I got to meet all of my future clients. And then the working in the restaurant was total exposure. The kitchen business, the clients came in and then they found this really talented girl that had worked in New York City and like, oh my God, she can not only draw kitchens, she can design my whole house and help me build a new house. So they're like, oh my God, you're slightly overqualified. So it was kind of neat,
Yeah, what sort of like specific skills did you learn or like experience that helped you later on?
Well, the thing is, my story is I was a drawing and painting at 10, 11, 12 years old and technical drafting at 14. So I was super talented on the drawing part. But what I learned is how to deal with people and how to make business deals and how to, present things and then how to close. So I learned all that sales and closing and client billing and that kind of relationship, the business when I lived in New York City because and then deadlines, getting it done, no option, late nights, good, learning to, really perform on a professional level. So that's what I learned out of college because I had the artistic skill I was kind of born with. So that's the
So
cool part.
that you learned already like in New York, right? Like when you were working for someone else. But like when you were waiting tables and like meeting the customers, like some people think like, hey, they just think of me as a waiter or hostess or something. So like I can't sell them on something else. Like how were you able to make that? So
Oh yeah. So the thing is, I tell them, here's my card. I'm a designer and I sell custom kitchens, but I don't sell the cabinets. I do the design because what it is I worked with a showroom that I had designed for. I kind of use that as here's my product. You can go see it. But I just design custom kitchens. You don't have to buy the cabinets from me, but there's a showroom that I designed if you want to go see them. But the people, I would tell my story how I came from New York and I'm a really fabulous designer in a roundabout way about I do interior design and custom kitchens. If you ever need help, here's my card.
I love that. Like just putting
They love
yourself
the
out
story.
there.
Yeah, and they like, who's this chick? Because I was you think I'm hyper now? I was super hyper back then. So I was always telling my story and, have a secret glass of wine with them, and I bond with everybody because, you're serving them alcohol. What better way to, mingle,
Yeah, no,
It
I
was
like that. Like
amazing.
literally taking every opportunity. Is there a specific like person or story that like sticks out from that time period?
Well, the thing is, I had this woman that I worked with, Nancy, and so she would introduce me to everyone. She kind of teed me up as they would come in the door and tell me who everybody was, because her and her husband were the #1 restaurateurs in Laguna Beach and Newport Beach. So she kind of knew everybody. So she kind of teed me up, and then I wouldn't shut up. So that was easy. But people like to hear your story. So I was teed up to tell my story, and people just get entertained by your little personal story. And yeah, I came from New York City, and I'm waiting tables to get by. And now
Yeah,
they,
you're
and
like
those,
literally being you.
yeah, and I have the people that still know me today, and they know what I went through to build my business. It was not glamorous, but it was fun.
Yeah, it's admirable.
Yeah.
So if somebody is listening to this and they're like, okay, I need more clients. Maybe I'm not that position that I need to go wait tables, but I do need more clients. What would you suggest to them?
Oh my God, join the chamber, join the Rotary, join a club, uh, go to more social events. I mean, start surrounding yourself with people that are your potential clients, even because maybe your clients are super young people, or maybe they're super old people, or maybe they're, certain type of people that, in my business, a new homeowner is 25 to 80. I mean, I have age groups, so, but, you belong to groups to get people to what it is, the key to success really, besides advertising, because that's one way. The other way is strategic partners. Meet people that are in businesses that parallel yours that can help you, because then they can brag about you for you. So you got to
Yeah.
get strategic partners, to have other people say how great you are is much more effective than you doing it.
Yeah. First of all, it's always like easier to say how great someone else is than like yourself, but like also then
Yes.
it doesn't come across like arrogant or anything. It's like, I actually know this person who's actually really good and I think they'll actually help you.
Exactly.
Who was
So
a strategic partner that you've used that helped you?
oh, I mean, all my marble guys, my slab guys, the guys that sell the material that people use, that when they go buy a home, that the ladies always run out and buy a bunch of stuff. They buy the tile, the marble, the carpets, the flooring. So they're out there running around, but the biggest one is the realtor when they buy their house.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's the
So do you know
one.
every single realtor around you?
Oh yeah, there's thousands in my neighborhood. That's the funny part. Thousands.
Wow. Okay. Now, what, like right now in your business in the current state that it is, like what's a challenge in your current state?
Well, I think of the challenges really, the economy's already kind of did the whammy, and everything's up 30 to 50%. So people are used to things costing more, and then the gas is high, the food's high. So that's all a thing. But my biggest thing is always in this darn business is they want it tomorrow and they want it cheaper. So there's always that struggle. And then they watch HGTV, and I'm like, really? It can't be done that fast. It's
Right?
impossible.
I
It's
love it. They want it
impossible.
tomorrow and they want it cheaper.
Yes. And that's always the
How do you
trouble.
like navigate that with clients? Like besides for like just telling them, but like help making sure they're still happy.
Well,
With
I have this thing with my staff and me, and we check in every week. And if the client's a little nervous, we check in Monday and Friday, and we give them constant updates. And then I show them pictures and I explain things, because knowledge is power. So without that knowledge, if they're left in the dark and you don't update them, boy, they spiral out of control really quick. See, it's constant communication and reassurance. It's like maybe a nervous mother, you got to constantly reassure, because we're delivering a freaking brand new baby to them, a brand new house. It's a big deal. So some of them need more reassurance than others.
yeah, I like that. Like it's going back, like your relationships thing, you could tell is really strong and really helped you.
Oh yeah. I'm very much intuitive to what the client's thinking, whether they know it or not. I know exactly how they're feeling, and I know exactly how happy or sad they are. And I know if they're listening to me either, because I'm a listener. I listen and I see the problem they're having and their struggles, because it's so stressful to remodel and build a new house. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Was that like a skill of being able to like listen and really pick up what someone else needs, something that you've developed over time or you had like even as a child?
I developed over time, because I think as a kid, my mom and dad always wanted us quiet. So we always listened and watched, because we were, my mom's from a big family and she believed it, just be quiet. kids should be seen and not heard. But I think it came when I was really young, but I didn't realize I was good at it until I was 40 something, my late 30s, because I was too busy being Julie and telling everybody who I am and selling myself until I realized someone else could probably sell me better. But then I really realized my value is listening, because then if I shut up and I wasn't the salesman constantly, because you can't function without, you can't sell somebody something unless you listen. So you're really letting the other person do more talking is what I actually had to learn, to let the other person have the last word, especially the client. So you just have to slow down and, in sales, it's key that they have the last word, not you. So there's a whole thing. So I did a little training and fine tuning, and my mother was really good at sales and compliance officer for American Express. So she trained people. So she was kind of like my little mini life coach on how to work with clients and how to, but I learned that I was a good listener as I grew more. I grew up a little more, probably when I was 40, I slowed down a little and thought, then you become more confident too.
When you become a better listener?
Yeah, when you're a better listener, means you're solid with what you have to say, and you don't have to say it too much, because they need to listen to what you say one time. But to be a designer, you really got to let someone pour their heart out to you. So you got to really let them talk, because they're pouring their heart out to you and all their dreams and wishes on paper. So it's really important that they get heard. So letting the client be heard is crucial. So it's something you learn in sales, no matter how old you are. But I think I got better at it in my late 30s.
Yeah, I think like from the way you're talking and just how this conversation is going, like you did it also before, but that's when you like became really aware of it and like extra conscious, developed it even more.
Yes, exactly. I didn't really, because the other day somebody asked me what's my superpower, and it's not because I'm pushy and driven and ridiculously organized and ridiculously efficient, but my superpower is my ability to listen.
I like that.
That's
So
it.
before like we get towards the end of this, what like do you suggest to someone who say they're actually struggling with listening? Like how could they get better at it?
They get better by asking more questions and talking less. So you make sure you outline, if you're meeting with someone, outline questions of what you are going to ask them. Just like you go to a party, let's say it's a black tie event and you don't know anybody, or maybe you bring somebody, you don't even know them. But if you're so nervous about talking to people, the secret is get them to talk about themselves.
Oh, you're muted.
Because when you ask else about themselves, they'll do all the talking and tell you their whole life story, and then before you know it, you're done with the whole party and you didn't have to do anything. So the tip here is ask someone else, how are they doing? How's it going? What's your story? What do you do for a living? Why are you here? That gets you through a whole evening. You do 5 questions to every person in the room, and you're done.
Yeah, and honestly, that's not just in business or sales. That's like in any relationships in general. Like when you ask the questions, and then it also goes back to like what you said earlier, it makes them feel seen and heard. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because even my current husband, I married at 50. He's probably the only person I've been around that actually listens to me and actually knows what I'm thinking before I do, it seems, because that's where our relationship works, because he listens.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that before. So it's funny how you grow up and then you get better about knowing yourself, and then you pick a better partner, just like you pick a better relationship when you know yourself better.
Completely. You need that self-awareness first. Awesome. So before we get to our final question, where can people connect with you and learn more about you?
My website is the easiest. It's just thejulielaughton.com. And that has everything. My podcast, everything's on there.
Awesome. What's your podcast called?
It's Julie Laughton Living.
Awesome. Okay. Now, what is something controversial that you believe in?
That's something controversial that I believe in. Oh my God. Let's see. Controversial. Oh my God. I don't believe that men should be in women's sports. I don't care what you do.
I think I know I agree with you on that one.
We are biologically different. Do your thing, fly your flag, have fun, but you cannot compete in female sports as a biological man. I am sorry.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. I really enjoyed talking to you today.
This is fun. Thank you. Thank you.